We changed tactics again last episode, and suddenly we just couldn't stop scoring. Welcome back to the Sir Alex Ferguson Aberdeen Challenge here on Super Sammy Plays. After dropping more points in the league, we decided to take drastic measures to try and secure Champions League football again for next season. So, for the second time in as many episodes, we've decided to change tactics again, hoping this new system could find us some consistency. We've also got a massive Scottish Cup quarter-final against Celtic coming up before heading into the final 9 league games of the season, so there's still plenty to play for. So, let's get into it. So, first on today's agenda is going to be that Scottish Cup quarter-final against Celtic. It is at Pittodrie, so we do have the home advantage, and we look to get off to a good start as we pull a big save out the goalkeeper, giving us a corner. From that resulting corner, we get a shot from the edge of the box with Cullen, bringing out another save from the goalkeeper. We did get another corner from that, but unfortunately nothing came from it. And then Awa with another really good effort just before half-time, pulling out another big save. Celtic did score here after it was a good save by the keeper, but you'd probably say a little bit of a mistake, but thankfully it was offside, so we head into half-time 0-0. We do head into the second half though, and 17 minutes into it, Celtic do finally get the breakthrough, scoring, but it is not long as it sparked us into stepping up our game a little bit, and Carvalho going past his man and firing into the far corner to level the game up. The 90 minutes ends with the game at 1-1, so extra time it is before potentially penalties. And it is Celtic with the first real chance of extra time as Jota down the right cuts back on his left, pulls it to the edge of the box, and the shot brings another good save out of the goalkeeper to keep the scoreline at 1-1. Before we get a chance of our own, with Milne going down the right, crossing into the box, finding Lazetic, and that is what he does best usually. Score, not head it over the bar like he did then. But we do end up going to penalties, and we're going to fire through this, so prepare yourselves. Awa steps up first, firing into the top corner. It's then Celtic's turn, reply, sending the goalkeeper the wrong way, before Lazetic has a penalty saved, and then McGregor follows suit with his saved. Renato Sanchez shows his experience, sending the goalkeeper the wrong way, and then we do make another save, Jota having a penalty saved, giving us the advantage, before the youngster Mitchell Frame sends it into the top corner, before Cratton Matcha hits it into the bottom left-hand corner, before Marcos Leonardo sends the goalkeeper the wrong way, as we win the penalty shootout 4-2 and advance to the semi-final of the Scottish Cup. And the man Gabby Carvalho getting all the plaudits, dazzling the Pittodrie crowd apparently. And he's really coming on this season. He's 8 goals and 11 assists. Certainly been a big contributor. And hopefully he can break the 10-10 goals and assists by the end of the season. Next up though, we're back to the league away at St Mirren. This one went a lot smoother, and after I just mentioned about us potentially scoring a lot more goals if we keep having shots like the way we did, we start off by going 1-0 up inside 64 minutes. We had another though 2 minutes later as the free kick gets cleared to the edge with Balalovic. He gives it to Renato Sanchez, who slips a pass to Gabby Carvalho before getting it back, finding Lazetic, who turns and shoots into the bottom left-hand corner to put us 2-0 in front. And this man is currently absolutely cooking for us. To make it 3 in the 79th, Lazetic getting his second of the game. There was a VAR check on this one, but thankfully doesn't get ruled out. And then we round off the scoring in the 82nd minute. Ball going over the top to Renato Sanchez, who pulls it into the middle. And Lazetic is there to get his hat-trick. And we win the game 4-0. So we signed a new goal scorer in January, and it turns out the other 2 strikers are the ones actually scoring the goals for us, as we get a hat-trick there for Lazetic and 1 more for Cullen. We also had the youth intake come through, and we got 1 top prospect, not quite elite, but could potentially be good for us in a few seasons' time, so we'll have to keep our eyes peeled on that. As we then play what is a pretty chaotic match away at Falkirk. Opening the scoring inside the half-an-hour mark, Gabby Carvalho pulling it into the middle, and Lazetic doing what he's been doing for the last few matches and banging it in, giving us a 1-0 lead before Falkirk quickly get a reply. This might have actually been from the kickoff, as it Mark and Day, feels like two different names there. Getting it on a right, getting it on his right and shooting into the bottom corner. Just before half time, Leon Bailey with a great curling effort on his right foot, which is shows that this is the game because he actually doesn't have one in real life if you've ever watched him play. Before we make it 3-1, just before the hour mark, Redondo firing into the bottom corner. There was another bar check on this, but thankfully it doesn't get overturned. Before Falkirk pull another back with Jashade Greenwood, making it 3-2 literally a minute later. But in the 78th, we score again. Renato Sanchez laying it off for Leon Bailey's second goal of the game and putting us up to 4-2, giving us a 2-goal cushion entering the final 13 minutes. Before the 91st, Falkirk do manage to score another one. He literally just shoots straight at the goalkeeper and it goes in. So made a couple of subs to try and hold out any more attacks from Falkirk, and we nearly completely threw this one away, as I'm not sure what that pass was. The ball goes over the top, back out to Greenwood. He cuts back on his right, pulls it into the middle, and the shot hits the post, and we get lucky as we go away with the 4-3 victory and the 3 points. Just before we head into the next one, I thought it might be worth mentioning that our main man, Keskinen, is finally back from injury. He's been out for 6 weeks, so he won't be ready for the next game, but be good to have him going into the final few games of the season. And this one is a big game because, as you know, we need to try and get in front of Rangers to get that Champions League spot in second place. So going 1-0 down inside the opening 17 minutes certainly wasn't an ideal start. But as you know, we have been scoring a lot of goals recently, and Cullen does so by scoring in the 21st, levelling us up in this game and getting us straight back into it. Before 5 minutes later, Asgard turning his man with absolute ease and bending it around the keeper low and hard to give Rangers a 2-1 lead and restore it for them before we get straight back into it and Bilalovic levels for us again. And 1 minute later, what do they say? You're always at your most vulnerable after you've just scored a goal? Well, it completely proves right here as we get caught on the ball and Diamonde plays a little 1-2, Chimiti going through and restoring Rangers' lead instantly, putting them 3-2 up. We do end up waiting another half an hour before the next goal of the game, but thankfully the goal is for us as Redondo spreads it out wide to the right with Milne. He plays the ball in behind to Awa and he fires into the bottom corner to level us up for the third time in this game. And thankfully the next goal of the game is for us in the 80th minute. Milne again finding Leonardo this time and he shoots into the bottom right corner to give us a 4-3 win and 3 points, taking us above Rangers in the table. And we're finally showing some consistency. Good to see Bilalovic getting all the plaudits from this one. He started because Bailey wasn't quite 100% match fit after playing a couple of games so quickly, but Bilalovic stepped in and he certainly stepped up as well. As Lazatic gets second in Player of the Month and we actually get Manager of the Month, so it shows that these tactics seem to be working for us. Gabby Carvalho has also received a £125,000 bonus for reaching his target of 10 assists in the league this season. I think he's actually way more than that in total. And things that you always love to see is the club has actually been taken over. What you don't want to read is the next line where it says there are no plans to provide the club with any investment at this stage. So it looks like it was just an internal takeover and unfortunately, we're not going to get a load of money. Celtic have been crowned champions. I mean, it was only a matter of time. They are so far in front. And you might notice at the bottom there, Charles has resumed full training. So we will have our first choice goalkeeper going into the final games of the season, which is good. So the new board didn't provide us with a cash injection, but they have offered us a new contract. So they're obviously happy with the job that we're doing. So obviously we agreed that because we have still got a challenge to complete. And then a little bit of bad news as our new signing, Martin Jimenez, has got a fractured cheekbone. So I was umming and ahhing whether to let him play with a protective mask, but what we're going to do is just send him to a specialist. And hopefully he recovers. As we just need to focus on that second place. Next up, though, we've got another league match. This is actually a double header against Dundee United. We play them first in the league and then in the Scottish Cup semi-final. And they start off the better in this one with the first chance inside the opening 10 minutes. Before we go ahead and actually get a goal, Lazatic bringing it down, laying it to Carvalho before he finds Cullen for the volley to put us 1-0 up inside 24 minutes. And yeah, that was a tidy finish. Lazatic then gets a goal of his own after he pounces on a poor touch from Graham, going through one-on-one with the goalkeeper, shooting into the left-hand corner and putting us 2-0 up before Dundee do actually get one back themselves. Barrington getting them in behind and shooting across goal to make it 2-1. As you notice, our goalkeeper is Charles for this game, so good to have him back, but unfortunately he couldn't do anything about that one. And then Barrington gets in behind again and gets pulled down by Redondo, giving Dundee United a penalty where Sebelge, you might remember, our nemesis from the first season, levels the game up, and we look like we've completely thrown this one away. Thankfully, though, Gabby Carvalho had other ideas as he picks up the ball and crosses it to the far post, and Balalovic's header finding Prank Pelage, and he volleys in to restore our lead and make it 3-2. We then make it completely comfortable with Christopher Cupps getting on his own rebound to make it 4-2 and putting the game out of sight, giving us another 3 points. So we have actually now qualified for the Europa Conference League, but we all know that is not the aim. We need to be getting Champions League football to bring in as much money as possible. And Lazatic on form again, like I mentioned, he's been cooking recently, and you'll see he's now on 18 goals in 18 starts. We'll ignore the 18 sub appearances because it makes it look worse. But yeah, he's our actual top scorer now for the season. Our on 17 from the cam roll is pretty good going. And Keskinen, who's obviously just come back from his injury, on 14 goals and 13 assists. So big contribution from him. 8 and 14 for Gabby Carvalho, Liam Cullen with 14 and 6. And unfortunately, what I was expecting a little bit more from, Marcos Leonardo has only scored 2 goals so far in 10 appearances in total. Then on to our second game against Dundee United. This one in the Scottish Cup, getting off to a flyer as Auer gets it on the edge of the box, shoots, and this might be the best goal we've actually scored this season. Christopher Cupps from centre-back, the loanee man from Man City. I mean, I like him in corners because he's so big, he usually gets on the end of them, but what a volley from him, giving us the lead inside the opening 5 minutes of this one. But on to the 27th minute, Dundee United go looking for an equaliser. Down the right-hand side with Sapsford, he cuts past his defender and shoots across goal, but thankfully Charles gets down low and saves. Before, in the 43rd minute, we go looking for a second as Auer has his shot saved by the goalkeeper, giving us a corner. We do manage to get the second, though, just before half-time as Leon Bailey crosses to the far post. Gabby Carvalho gets onto the loose ball, and Auer's shot is deflected past the goalkeeper to give us a 2-0 lead as we head in at half-time. Pretty quiet second half until the 89th minute as the corner gets cleared, and Cullen finding Prank Pelage and the youngster going past his man and shooting into the near post to give us a 3-goal lead. And that is how the game finishes, and we go through with ease, and we are in the Scottish Cup final. So like I just mentioned about Christopher Cupps pulling off a wonder strike, fans want a permanent deal, and it is no surprise because he has been really good for us since we signed him in January. Next on the agenda, though, I decided to offer Carvalho a new contract. I noticed that he was wanted, and I remembered he had a release clause of 16 million, and I didn't want the Amaro situation happening all over again. So I know we only signed him at the start of the season, but I spoke to his agent. We managed to get the release clause removed, and he happily signed a new contract with us, removing that release clause. So if somebody does want to come in for him, they're going to have to pay top money for him. We then play Rangers again in the league. Obviously, we've had the split by this point, so obviously we end up playing them 27 times a season. And they start this one off the better, going 1-0 up inside the opening 10 minutes as Chimiti firing into the bottom corner, giving them a 1-0 lead. And nice little bit of play here from the winger, Gassama, finding Chimiti at the near post. And Charles, who preempted where he was going to shoot, still didn't manage to save it. Rangers were really piling on the pressure in this first half, with Asgard finding Diamondo at the far post, and his 50p head hits the bar when he really should have scored. Thankfully, though, we're going at half-time just the 1 goal down. We gave the boys a little talking to at half time, and we certainly started off much better in the second, as we do find an equaliser in the 65th. Keskinen finding Lazatic, and this is the sort of goal that Lazatic absolutely loves. Keskinen, we've missed, he's finally back. He gets the ball in on his left foot, and Lazatic heads it low into the ground, levelling the game up and making it 1-1. The only other real chance of the game came for Rangers in the 77th minute, with Frame's clearance only going as far as Asgard. He plays a 1-2 and whips it into the far post. And I remember I mentioned about Diamonde's 50p head. Well, he's absolutely spooned that one over. And the game finishes 1-1. So not a terrible result, because it means that we are still in front of Rangers. So Gabby Carvalho did go ahead and sign that contract. And I completely forgot that Liam Cullen has still got match high Cernicors. So he is absolutely laughing because his money is absolutely skyrocketed thanks to that clause, which when I was so desperate to get him in the first season. We're also matching his wages, but we'll let him off with that because he has certainly been one of our best players, and he's currently probably our actual best player. So we're fine with that. Now for the final game of the episode, we are away at Hearts today. This can be a bit of a tricky one, but thankfully not for us today, as Leonardo gets in behind, plays a 1-2 with Awa and bends the ball past the goalkeeper, giving us a 1-0 lead inside the opening 14 minutes. And what a pass this was from Carvalho to find Leonardo. And yeah, nice little 1-2, takes a touch before firing past the goalkeeper and giving us a 1-goal lead. Carvalho then involved again, as we go looking for a second with a great ball in behind to Awa, and he should do better there, putting the ball wide of the goal. And then Carvalho with a corner, finding Christopher Cups. This guy is absolutely flying at the moment as he scores another goal, this time on his head, which is kind of what you'd expect. This is one of the reasons I like him so much. 6'4", big unit centre-back, gets his head on the ball and gives us a 2-0 lead inside the opening half an hour. A much quieter second half though, as Cups sends one out wide to Carvalho. He heads it first time to Awa, gets it back again and then hits the post with the shot. And that was really the only chance of the second half as we win the game 2-0. Heading into the final 3 games with a 4-point lead over Rangers, but they do have a game in hand, so we'll see what happens there. So just a little bit of admin before we wrap up. As Luis Kumas obviously started off playing quite a lot at the start of the season, but we are going to make him as available for reserves, and I've probably done this about 3 months too late. Yeah, he's really not played so much since we brought Leon Bailey in, and we don't really want to stunt his development any further. Christopher Cups also coming second in Player of the Month, so that's twice in a row now we've had someone in Player of the Month, and it's twice in a row where I've actually won Manager of the Month, so these tactics definitely seem to be clicking. So the new system definitely seems to have clicked as we finished the episode unbeaten and we only dropped points in a 1-1 draw against Rangers. We do head into the final episode of the season with a 4-point lead over them, albeit they do have a game in hand. So Champions League football is looking a lot more realistic now. We've also got the Scottish Cup final against Rangers, so it really does feel like it's us against them for everything right now. But that's going to do it for today's episode of the Sir Alex Ferguson Aberdeen Challenge. If you've enjoyed the video, do me a favour, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you guys in the next one.